And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the YouTube channel, man. Here we are, the actual first episode, I guess I should say, of the Duval Vibes podcast. I'm here with Tom McManus. What's going on, Tom?
What's up, my man? Yeah, great to kick off a new title of the show and talking about the hometown, the hometown team. Even
Yeah,
though they're 2-8 and not looking good, but yeah, great to be here. It's Thanksgiving week, right? We got a lot to be thankful for, including doing this show. So it's all
absolutely,
good.
man. I mean, we've been doing the show long enough where we might as well put a name on it, right? And
That's right.
the show is brought to you by the Relevant app. All the shows are basically going to be on the Relevant app under the Jaguars Fanatics vibe. We do the shows Tuesday
Yep.
night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 2 hours before kickoff on each game day, as well as we're doing halftime reports. So
Yeah.
some of the best insight I think we can find on the web out there, man.
I like you, man. You do a great job. You make my job a lot easier. So I'm happy and thankful for that,
All
big
right.
time. But man, what a poor outing on Sunday. Goodness
Yeah,
gracious. I know you were there, right? You went.
I've been
Weren't
to
you
the
at the
three worst
game?
games. I've been to the three worst games this year, Tom. I went
Man,
to Houston week 1. I went to Seattle, and then I went
God
to this
bless you.
thing, man. It's
Well, you're a fan. That's what fans do. You endure with the hope that one day you'll be the one, at the victory parade,
yeah,
watching your team come down the float. That's why you're fans. That's what makes you great. It's hard. It's hard when your team's not very good. I get it, man. I was seeing on Twitter guys with I forget maybe Duvall till we die. Just they left early. They're like, we never leave early. Like we've
yeah,
never left the game early, and we left, and we're here. Back at our tailgate. And it just sucks all around.
yeah.
And there's really no there's no magic words you can say. You can say, you dissect the game, of course. That first drive killed them, set the whole tone for the entire game. And, again, it's just, I go back to Urban. It doesn't feel like what I thought was going to be an Urban Meyer team.
Hmm.
They're undisciplined. They play it doesn't seem like there's a lot of accountability. Everybody's friends. You know, Trevor and the offense go down that last drive. That last drive doesn't count.
No.
I don't care. You're down 30-3. Marvin Jones, you had like 4 catches in that drive. Where were you the entire game?
And
Like,
he was like
where
open
was
too.
all that?
Finally, for once, he's open on the final drive. It's like, oh my
Like,
god, what?
what?
Why is it happening now?
And open, like he had separation,
Yeah,
like what is going on? It's just, and then Trevor's on the sideline. He's got his arm around Urban and hunky dory, and man, aren't things great? You're like, man, they're not great. You guys are not very good.
yeah,
Granted, well, give San Fran a lot of credit. They came into play. I mean, credit them for having a short week, had to travel, different time zone, and they were physical from the get go. I mean, they
hmm,
they came to play, so I got to give them a lot of credit. But man, you can't have what happened on that first drive, Dalton, and think you're just gonna the switch is gonna flip and it's all gonna change. I mean, the offsides, the holding. Granted, the defensive holding on Jenkins was a little suspect, but at the end of the day, why hold them at all? They're all out blitzing. You only have to cover for like 2 seconds. Like, why are you holding them?
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's just like that, and then it's like there's no ramification for it. It doesn't seem like everyone's like, "Ah, don't worry about it." I go 5 on the side. I don't get it. That's not a commitment to excellence team that Urban Meyer has been saying since day one. What's out there, it's nowhere near what he's talking about. It's weird. It's like what you're showing on the field is the opposite of what you claim your team is going to do. Just
yeah.
doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and this game was one of the weirder games I've really seen because that first drive, San Francisco burnt 13 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock, but
Oh yeah,
the Jaguars defense is able to hold them to 3 points. So in a way, I was like, okay, this is I'd probably take that. But the only way you can turn that into a win is if the offense keeps the ball for a little bit. If they go 3 and out, they punt the ball off, and then the Jaguars defense actually stopped San Francisco on 3rd down, and then you had the Rayshon Jenkins holding call, and then all of a sudden, that leads to a touchdown. Jaguars get the ball back, fumble first play. 49ers score a touchdown off of that. Then you look at it, and the Jaguars ran 4 plays on offense, and they were down 17-0.
Yeah.
It was like it was so weird seeing a game get away from them so quickly without even really allowing guys like Trevor Lawrence to really do anything. And it's tough right now because we're in the situation where we want to figure out exactly who and what to blame, but it's just blame all around. I mean, we're all look at Darrell Bevell, and he's not doing a great job when it comes to offensive, game planning and stuff like that. But, then you point at Urban Meyer for not only hiring that guy, but, he's kind of the final say of all these different things. You look at Trent Baalke, where we have literally a terrible wide receiver core, and, where we just – and when it comes to giving Trevor Lawrence a shot, like I thought Trevor Lawrence actually played pretty decent this game, but it's like – there were no real opportunities, and just I don't know.
He really didn't do anything till the end. To be honest, I mean, really, that last drive, they had a drive before that. It was like 13 plays, and they netted like 17 yards.
Yeah,
the penalties and it doesn't feel like a very well disciplined team. You want to talk about attention to detail? Well, you don't see that out there. I'll give you another example. So late in the game, Jimmy, and by the way, let's go back to the first drive. Jimmy missed the running back wide open in the end zone. I mean, if he hits him, that's 7. He missed them, but let's refrain on what held them to 3 yards. They got lucky. They didn't get 7. Nonetheless, long drive, 3 yards, understood. And bend, don't break. I'm okay with that, but not when it takes 13 and a half minutes off the clock. And then, like you said, the offense goes 3 and out. Then you're back, and it's just tough. It's really tough. But later in the game, the back runs like he kind of hesitated for a second, ran a wheel route. It was where Chason figured out too late that, oh, shit, that's my man.
Yeah.
Before that, it was down their sideline heading north, right? So, and I'm sitting there going, okay. And then you hear the announcers like, well, obviously it's man. Everybody's in man. The back clearly comes to him, and he just continues on to the quarterback, and nobody has this guy, and he comes out and he's wide open. Mm-hmm. Now, Chason in the middle of it realizes, oh crap, it's my guy. But he's way out, and they make a completion, and it gets a first down. You're trying to get the ball back. You're trying to do something. And I'm sitting there going, man, like, how do you not know that's your guy? Like, it's man to man. Let me just so everybody knows out there, it's not rocket science. If I'm a linebacker and I have another guy next to me, and man to man means the back, if he's tilted to my side, which he was, I got him. And what does that mean? I got to hug up on him. We used to call it the hug. I don't know if they still call it, but a hug technique. So if the guy fakes to block, right, you don't just get to go to the QB. You got to make sure he's blocking before you go to the QB. Does that make sense? Because normally they'll slip out, or sometimes they'll slip out. They'll do a screen or just a flare, and there's nobody out there if you don't hug up on him. You don't get right in his grill and follow him. Now, if he ends up blocking somebody, then you go, but not until then. So to me, again, it's just like this. It's undisciplined football. Once again, defensively, you're out of position. You didn't tackle well. They pushed you around a little bit. Offensively, J-Rob got bottled up. You didn't have any rhythm. And granted, look, that first drive screwed everything up. It just did. Nobody's expecting that. Nobody on the team is expecting opening drive, we're gonna, and this is where I'll give the Jags a little credit. Is like they shot themselves in the foot way too many times on that drive. They should have been off the field on that drive a lot earlier than giving up a field goal. They should have given up 0. And that could have changed the entire game. It is what it is. They didn't. But man, they just, the penalties on third down to give them first downs. Those are backbreakers, man. They're really tough to have to go through as a unit. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
And they just didn't, hey, credit the 49ers. They came to play, man. They took it to us, and you saw the outcome of the game.
And I gotta tell you, I think right now the most concerning thing about this season is that a lot of people looked into it and said, look, like wins and losses are great, but the thing that this is mostly about is really just the development of Trevor Lawrence. And I mean, to me, it looks like Week 5 Trevor Lawrence is better than Week 11 Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I wouldn't say he's like regressing, but he's definitely not progressing, and it doesn't feel like the Jaguars are putting them in a great spot. I mean, there was a report that came out on Sunday that apparently there's a lot of turmoil with Urban Meyer and the offensive coaching staff, and apparently Urban Meyer wants to go out here and start running more like RPO type of stuff, like Trevor did in back in college. And it's like, well, I mean, obviously you can't go out there and just put in a brand new scheme like that, and it definitely feels like kind of big time changes are like on the horizon. But man, it's concerning when you look at it. And we had this guy Trevor Lawrence this year is really a big thing about his progression. And right now the offense is going downhill. A lot of it's because of attrition. I mean, we lost our best playmaker with Jamal Agnew. James Robinson is clearly a different running back with that injury. And we don't have right now any reliable guys. I mean, we have a receiver room full of former first round picks that didn't pan out in their career, and they're here and hoping that they can reignite some fire with them. And it's really, really sucks to watch.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough being a fan, no doubt about it. And Trevor, he's not doing himself any favors. I think Trevor's getting tired, man. You think about all the games. He's getting to where it's almost the end of the college season. Now he's got another 5, 6, 7 games to go. I heard the same rumblings with Meyer and Bevel, I believe it is. Meyer wants to run a certain way, Bevel doesn't. Again, Meyer. I think one thing about Urban Meyer, he brought in all these NFL guys to say, I got this NFL staff. I'm not an NFL guy, but look around me. Look who I have.
Yeah.
But he's delegated everything. Like his stamp hasn't been there. Like I don't think it doesn't look like an Urban Meyer type team when he says what he said early. Commitment to excellence, built to win now. Man, we're ready. And you're clearly not. And it's not just physical. A lot of it's mental errors. And those are unacceptable. So where's that accountability? You know what I mean? Like it's not okay if you're out of position. It's not okay if you miss the block or the tackle or the blitz gap you're supposed to be in or whatever. You missed the coverage. I didn't hear it. Well, you're supposed to hear it. You have to make sure you hear it. There's all types of reasons. But there's too many errors. There's too many mental errors. Too many guys out of position. Guys not doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
It's and look, and Trevor has regressed. I think he's getting sloppy with his mechanics. I think he's tired. I think he's tired of everything, though. The line. He's tired of the lack of weapons. Now Agnew's out with a horrific injury.
Oh, that looks
Gosh,
gross,
I hope
man.
he's okay.
Yeah.
It's a brutal sport, ladies and gentlemen. It is, man. One play, not that it is for him. I'm just saying one play can change the whole thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's better. But look, I think you look at the rest of the games. They're at home again against Atlanta. By the way, I'm hosting a tailgate party at Tailgaters Parking this Sunday.
All right.
Starting at 11 o'clock. Game day tailgate experience. So come on out. It's like you pay some money, you get in, you get food, you get open bar. It's There's a band, music. Should be a good time. But
Awesome, man.
what are you going to do for the rest of the year? You just got to, hope. If I'm Shad Khan, though, I got to start thinking about what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anybody go. I don't, but something's got to give here. Because why, Dalton? It's not working. I don't want to hear we're getting close. You're not.
No, they're not.
What are you talking about? Quit saying these things. Like it's almost like, and I hear Trevor saying a couple of things. I'm like, Trevor, it's not like you've been lighting it up. Like you haven't been that great. It's not all your fault, but as a whole, your offense hasn't been good. Don't tell me, oh, we just had a bad day. No big deal. Like what? What? You're 2-8. You can't accept the losing. You can't. You can't sit there. It's like swimmers. God bless you, swimmers. I love it. I would never do it. I would drown. But swimmers rely on what? Their times. They could finish last in a heat. Well, I bettered my time. Well, great, but you still finish last in the heat. That doesn't matter. So when a coach in the NFL says we're getting, better, you're like, what? That doesn't mean anything. Like, we're so close. It doesn't mean anything. You're a professional football team and franchise and organization. So I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I'd like to see more, but gosh, it's so disheartening that an Urban Meyer team is playing the way they're playing when that's not the way we thought this was going to go down. He was supposed to bring this level of winning, period. No, wait, we got to build. No, wait, we got no. You got plenty of veterans on this team. I think they have enough talent, Dalton. I question the coaching and I question the leadership. I think the direction's messed up, and I think the culture is nowhere to be found. We have no idea what their culture is. That's what I see anyway.
Yeah, and when I look at this offseason, like I feel like Shad Khan will 100% not fire Urban Meyer. The only way Urban Meyer's out next year is if he decides to step down. So we have to go a step further and really see this kind of coaching staff that Urban Meyer built. And I wonder if he was in a situation where he really felt the need to get a bunch of NFL guys that he didn't have a bunch of ties to. Because obviously Joe Cooley's never coached them before. Darrell Bevel basically won the job off of an interview. And I wonder if next year, because I would be shocked if Darrell Bevel is still here next year. I wonder what route he goes. I wonder if he goes in a direction where, like a lot of people are talking about, like Dan Mullen, like a guy that he's worked with before, and he knows that what kind of coach they are, and he knows what kind of offense that they want to kind of step forward. Because I have a feeling like if say Darrell Bevel were to be fired today, I don't think Urban Meyer can go in there and call plays. I don't know if he knows his offense well enough. This isn't an offense that's close to anything that he's ever run before. So it's like if he gets fired, then like, okay, who's going to call plays? Like Schottenheimer? Do you want our passing game coordinator to be calling plays when our passing game has been atrocious? Like, what else do we have out there? Apparently he's been having, a lot of, in that article that came out from CBS, like he's been having it out for the running back coach and the wide receiver coach. So, and it's so hard right now to look at this team because there's so many things that are wrong, and it's all over the place. It's not just the roster, it's the coaching staff, it's even the GM, even the owner. I mean, a lot of people like. I think Shad Khan does care because he opens up blank checks for everything, but he's just not good at football. He's been the owner since 2012. And I mean, no matter what you say, the record speaks for itself. They've had every single season has been a double-digit losing season outside of that, random 2017 fluke year that the further we get away from it, the more I'm in shock that even happened. But it's been bad. I mean, he's had 3 GMs, 4 head coaches. This head coach has been, not good so far. And I'm not going to say that he's 100% not going to work out, but right now it's not been good. You know what I mean? No. And as much as we can say, okay, next year, redo the coaching staff and everything, there are a little bit of sunk costs when it comes to, we don't have the same draft capital in 2022 that we did in 2021. Right. Like we had prime draft picks, and man, you're seeing some of those guys, and we can play this game every year when it comes to the Jaguars about who they passed up, who they took, and the amount of impact those other guys have had versus now. So
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I mean, I told myself that, okay, no matter what, this is going to be a better year than last year because we have Trevor Lawrence, we have this and that, we get to see the development. But right now, it's like diminishing returns when I see this team play. I mean, it's great, this defense is getting overshadowed because they're playing pretty well, but you see games like on Sunday where, the defense, it just gets away from them. And if it gets away from the defense, if the defense, comes out there and doesn't put their best foot forward, the Jaguars are going to wind up losing 30-10 like they did on Sunday.
Well, look, first of all, with the defense, I mean, there's been a chink in the armor on the rush D. We were at a really strong point, shutting teams down. Indy ran on us last week. We got run on. Just not winning at the point of attack, getting moved around and whatnot. But you think like, you look at Trevor. So if I'm Urban, right? So you have this quarterback, generational type quarterback. Should I bring him a system and that I think he fits in and try to make it work? Or do I create a system based off what he's good at and what he's comfortable with? I mean, it's simple as that when it comes to the development of a young QB. Am I going to force him into this? And maybe you do, right? Maybe, hey, this is it. You look at, I don't know, I haven't watched every Patriot game, but Mac Jones, Tom, they probably run similar style offenses, right? We're going to make it fit in ours. We'll try to, adapt here and there, but that's how we're going to make it fit. But for the most part, you got to build an offense around his strengths. We've been calling for it right here on DUUUVAL Vibes, the new show. That let Trevor be Trevor. Whether that's there you go. Look at that hair, man. That's high. That hair.
I know, killing it.
We
made you 20 years older in this one.
I like it.
Hell
I
yeah.
like it. But look, I think at the end of the day, Urban is going to have to figure out what's best for this team. Whether he does it during the year, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. You're 2-8. You're not going anywhere. I just want to see it. Just want to see some spark, of if we could leave this year with the feeling that, okay, wasn't a great year, but look how they finished, last 4 games, 5 games, 7 games, whatever. Look how they finished, and maybe we can roll into next year with some optimism. That's going to take a lot because we got to get a lot done. Now, there's been guys that are playing fairly well, some really well, especially on defense. And then on offense, you have who you have. The thing that bothers me, that last drive, it's like everything works out on that last drive. Why? Well, they're playing zone. They're dropping back. They're letting you catch it. It's pitch and catch. That's not impressive. That doesn't mean anything. That's like practice. It's like 7-on-7 practice when you score a touchdown in 7-on-7 practice. It's not that impressive. It's not like, wow, look, touchdown in practice. That's all it is. So I don't know. I think it's deeper than just X's and O's on this team. And I think Urban's got to take a hard look at what kind of team, how does he want? Forget relying on all these so-called NFL experts. It's running a football team. The only thing that's really different is the players. And they get paid. And it's a job. And it's not, hey, I'm going to tell your mom and dad on you or your aunt or your uncle, your grandparent, if you don't shape up. I'm not going to take your scholarship. That's the only difference. Yeah, do you have to motivate them? Yes. Do you have to find a way to do that? Yes, you do. The college way doesn't work in the NFL. Those guys that are older, they're like, don't give me that. I don't even want to hear any of that stuff. The rah-rah, shish goomba. Save that for college. I know what I got to do, and I know what our team has to do. So something's got to change with the way Urban runs his football team. And whether that happens this year and you see it or not, it's got to happen at some point. Because what we've seen so far, we've seen glimpses. There's been some good stuff. I mean, I'm not saying there hasn't, but it's not to where you're like, look, okay, he's got the handle, we've got the identity, this is who we are. Nobody can stop it. We don't. It's like, and that's what I expected out of Urban Meyer. Didn't you? I mean, Ohio
Yeah.
State, Florida, those teams kicked ass. They kicked
Yeah, dude.
everybody's ass with vim and vigor and with confidence, with some discipline and knowing where they're at on the field and knowing their assignments and making the plays. And you're thinking, okay, it's college, so you got to temper the whoa, but at the end of the day, it's football, and he's been exceptional. And then you see him here, and it's like, where is it?
Yeah.
Where is that, Urban? Quit relying on everybody else. I don't give a shit about Daryl Bevel. You know what Daryl Bevel's known for? Having some success in the NFL and then getting tight when the game gets tight. That's his reputation. It's not like he's this superstar. Joe Cullen, I think Joe Cullen's done a nice job. I think he has. I think he's got something to work with and he's okay. But, it's not like, these guys are the end all say all because they've coached in the NFL. You know the gosh darn game. You know how to deal with people. Let's go. Show us who your team is. Because to date, I mean, gosh damn, I feel like a broken record, Dalton. How many times? Let's see an Urban Meyer team. Because to date, we haven't seen it. Or I haven't. Not even close.
Tom, it's funny because today I actually looked at I went on YouTube and I actually looked up some Trevor Lawrence highlights from Clemson, and our offense right now is a complete 180. What I saw at Clemson was they're lining up in pistol. They're having pre-snap motion. They're RPOing. He's dropping back and throwing deep. Like, it's not like he's standing back there all the time in the world. He just does a quick drop back and throws, finds somebody open. Like, our offense right now, we do some of we are like bottom of the league when it comes to pre-snap motion, which helps out quarterbacks tremendously because it really helps you figure out what kind of coverage they're running. They're not doing that, so they're not helping the quarterback out that way. Obviously, just the offensive play calling is just boring. It's stale. We don't do anything creative at all. Like, what have we done creative? A flea, what is that? A flea flicker that we did that one time that didn't end up very well. Like, we do nothing. It sucks watching this offense, and this is probably. Unfortunately, this might be the worst offense I've really ever seen from the Jaguars. I don't remember really any being worse than this. At the very least, this is the worst group of playmakers I've ever seen, and it's only going to get worse. I mean, Jamal Agnew's out. James Robinson is hampered with an injury, and one thing that we've learned is that no one's going to step up a wide receiver. We keep having hopes that, okay, John Brown, he's going to do something. Oh, we got different guys, but I mean, we see Taven Austin drop a punt last week. He dropped another pass later on. No one wins 50-50 balls. You throw the ball up and get a 50-50 ball, they're not going to come down with it. We see guys all over the NFL, they throw up a 50-50 ball. I mean, you see Devontae Adams, whoever, DeAndre Hopkins, they come down with it. And even lesser tier wide receivers will come down with it. Yeah. At least when we don't have anybody that wins. I mean, yeah. Marvin Jones can't run anymore. Like, it's pitiful. And we have no creativity on this offense. We have no playmakers on this offense. And I don't know what to hang my hat on. I don't know what to say. Okay, we play the Falcons. This is what we're doing well. This is what we need to attack. All we can do is we can say, oh, I hope this guy does something. I hope that guy does something. Well, but they probably do it. Will they do it? Probably not. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. And it does suck. Let me ask you this question, though, Dalton. Dan Arnold wasn't targeted once during the San Francisco game. Is that play call or is that Trevor not going to? What do you think?
I think they look on film and they say, okay, this is the guy that they throw to and they can't throw to anybody else. So let's just take that part of the game away from him. That's what it felt like to me.
So you think they doubled Dan or Dave? What is his name? Dan Arnold?
Dan Arnold. I mean, yeah. I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't go back and rewatch. Usually, I go back and rewatch games. I didn't rewatch this one. I think.
Look, to me, it's odd that here you go. The number one weapon outside of James Robinson, consistently, has been this guy named Dan Arnold, who you got via trade. Who cares how he got here? He's here. He's a weapon, and you don't make sure he gets the ball. I don't understand that at all. Look, the receivers, you have who you have. Chenault, and what's his name? Bevel, it wasn't a terrible play call throughout. There were some plays that were pretty decent. He did a nice rub route with Agnew, that made the catch on the side before he got hurt. And I mean, Chenault fumbles. That's not the coach's fault. That's the player's fault. But it's odd to me. And this goes back to Balky, and this goes back to, Urban. You evaluated this team coming in. You didn't grab any offensive linemen. Now, maybe they made offers. I don't know, but you didn't hear if they did or not. You didn't grab any stud wide receiver. You said okay, and I was okay with Chark. So were you. I think a lot of us were. He got hurt, and that's a shame. But they had all this money. They didn't do it. They didn't do that much. They made some nice picks on defense. Harris, Wilson, uh, Brown. Yeah, yes, I agree. They made a couple of nice draft picks. Campbell is going to be okay, I think, and we'll see about Cisco. Little, I don't know. Little to me,
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
got an
know.
uphill. He's got an uphill battle.
He's got a lot to work on, in my opinion. Maybe he's just not ready whatsoever.
Honestly, they ought to move to start playing them exclusively at right tackle. Try to get him trained up
Maybe
there because
I
because
think you're
something
right
is.
because you got to figure out what you're going to do with those guys with
I mean, I think
Giovanni
you
and with
keep. I
Cam.
think you keep Cam Robinson at left tackle. You get him an extension, and then, but something has to happen at right tackle. Because Jawan Taylor isn't getting it done, and you just
Yeah,
invested a very high draft pick in Walker Little. I mean, you can't. I mean, he can't go down in Jaguars history as our swing tackle. If a guy goes
right.
down, we got
No,
too much
he's got to be
invested in
your
him.
starter for sure.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
and another thing we talk about just, this offense, and you talk about Dan Arnold. I mean, nowadays what teams are doing, they're literally just playing our guys one-on-one, the cornerbacks one-on-one, which is getting more traffic in the middle. So I mean, it's going to be hard to throw the ball in the middle. I mean, like I said, man, this offense is completely broken. Trevor Lawrence looks like a completely different quarterback from,
Well,
his college days, and it
Dalton,
sucks.
you can't rely on, you can't put everything on your young QB in his first year. And think about it. Even in the beginning of the year, the first quarter of the season, they didn't realize what they had in J Rob when he was healthy. I mean, they didn't rely on him at all. Like they even used Hyde more than him on occasion. It's
Yeah.
like, how do you not recognize? Did you not watch all the tape from last year? Did you not see what he did? And then you come out and you put it all on the young guy, this generational QB. And now it's too late. Like now J Rob's hurt. I mean, I think Carlos he could do all right, but he's not J Rob. But you can't put it all on the QB. And now, especially because he's regressing. I mean, you may sit there, your mindset may, all right, let's see what the kid can do. Like it's like Top Gun. After Goose dies, the guy Viper or whoever says, keep getting him up, keep taking
Yeah.
him up, making sure he flies. Maybe he gets through it. Maybe you take that approach, but at the end of the day, you don't want this kid. I don't think he's anywhere near this for the record. But losing confidence, I mean, he's a mess right now. He pulls the ball too quick. He doesn't trust anybody. He's not. I mean, that last drive, you know why he was able to make those throws
Prevent
because they
defense.
were off. The guys were open, and
Yeah.
nobody was in his face.
Yeah, there was zero resistance. I mean, they don't.
So
That's
that
same
that
thing that happened
doesn't
at the Seahawks game.
do anything. That doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything. That's like, gosh, damn, like anybody can do that. And then you're over, like, oh yeah, I don't know. I think the big problem. It all starts from the top and it trickles down. I don't care what business we're talking about, organization. If you don't have that right leader giving the right message, every single day, and you don't have your sergeants or whoever you want to call them, your soldiers that trickle it all the way down to the very last person that where whoever that is on the totem pole of your organization. This is how we do it. This is who we are. This is our identity. This is how it is. Period. It's not. We're gonna figure it out
Yeah.
because it's not work. That's their whole like, oh, we'll just figure it out. Well, it'll happen. No, it doesn't happen that way. So to me, I think Shad Khan. I don't know what to do. I really don't have an answer. I want to see how the rest of the year goes, but I have to question moving forward, depending on how the year goes. But after this year, is Urban Meyer and his staff, including Balky, the right people? I think he's got to take a hard look at that. And
Yeah.
nobody would have thought that going in, right? You, me, and I'm a late bloomer to Urban Meyer being our guy. I was like, oh, whatever. But then I warmed up to him, and I really believed what he was saying. But what he says and what the team is are two different things. And I
Yeah.
don't believe in people like that. I just like that's not you're not doing what you said. You're not following through. You're not showing me. You're telling me. Well, that doesn't mean anything. So that's the big from a big pic. I think Trevor's going to be fine. He's going to need some help. He's going to need some tutelage. He's going to have to work on his game. You're going to have to upgrade a lot of positions. But the biggest thing is what kind of culture and philosophy do you want your team to have? What is it? Because right now, I don't think they know.
Yeah, and I think the biggest misstep with Urban Meyer, really as a Jaguars coach, amongst a lot of them, there's obviously been a bunch of them, but just the whole coaching staff situation. First of all, um, obviously I've never been a player in the league, so I don't know. But one thing I do know is I hear people say that it really looks like a college show out there. Like they have a bunch of like coaches all over the place. And is that weird? Like is that diminishing returns at some point if you have too many coaches out on the staff, or does that as a player, how do you feel about that?
I just want to talk to my position coach and then my coordinator and then
Yeah.
my head coach if I need to. I
So
don't
so
need
there's that.
I don't need everybody else. I,
So
I
there's
had
that.
GA. Go ahead. I'm
And I
sorry.
think there's too much delegation. Like because, like I said, because he can't. Granted, if anything bad happens to Daryl Bevel where he's forced to leave, I don't think Urban Meyer has done enough or knows enough about this offense to just step in here and right the ship and guide it. It doesn't seem like he just knows enough about what's going on all over the place. I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird, man. It's not a good situation,
Well, maybe
unfortunately. But
maybe maybe he needs to really develop a strong relationship with his young QB and ask him what kind of offense do you want to run? What
yeah.
makes you comfortable? What makes you feel like you can really succeed? Or go the opposite. Say, what plays don't you like, Trevor?
Hmm.
Which ones don't you feel good about? Which ones can you do in your sleep? Because there's got to be plays you can do with your eyes closed, right?
Hmm.
That timing route, that quick out, whatever it is, that hitch. You're just taking three steps and letting it ride. It goes right to where you put it. But what don't you like? Because you got to get that kid comfortable. And I don't look, this whole, pound the ball, play action pass, especially coming from under center, which he never really did in college. It's a lot to
Hmm.
ask a young kid. Can he get better? Of course he can. But you better have the right pieces. And I don't mean just talent. I mean the ones coaching them. And right now I don't know. I don't see much hope in who's developing our young QB.
Yeah. That's
And again, look, he's regressed. You can see it in his motions, in his throws, in his mechanics. Maybe he's tired. I don't know. Maybe whatever. But at the end of the day, those coaches got to hold him accountable and not be afraid. There can be no eggshells. I'll never forget when I went to Illinois on a recruiting trip. Jeff George. You probably don't ever even heard of him. Jeff George wasn't considered generational, but his talent was ridiculous. His arm talent was absolutely insane. He was a first round pick of the Colts. He might have been, I don't know what number he's at. Well, maybe he was one of those other drafts, the side drafts that they had. But he was a top pick. Had a great arm, and I took a visit. He went from Purdue to Illinois. I transferred, and one of their D linemen. We were sitting at the table having breakfast or lunch. I think it was lunch, and Jeff George came by. The defensive line coach, Bill Collar, asked my host, this guy named Peel. I can't remember. He played at the Rams for a long time, defensive lineman, really good guy. He started doing this wah like this guy's a baby.
Yeah.
He's a baby coach. He's like, and we were all like, oh wow, really? Like I'm not saying Trevor is. I'm not saying that. But my point is he's got to work on his game. It can't all be roses for Trevor Lawrence. And it's not all on him. There's plenty of issues with this team. But he's definitely got to up his game.
Yeah. And Tom, I love doing these shows with you, but this sucks, man. I hate seeing the state of this team right now. And it stinks because there's so many things going on, and there's more questions than answers right now.
Yeah.
And it's tough, man. It's tough. But
let's just say this, Dalton. Let's just say it's Thanksgiving week, and we are thankful that we have an NFL team.
Absolutely.
In our city, and we should be. And, hopefully that eventually they'll right the ship, where you can be that fan in the crowd during the parade as they celebrate a Super Bowl victory. I know that seems very far off, but you know what? With the right people in place, with the right talent, with the right attitude, with the right philosophy and culture, you can definitely make it happen. So I'm thankful we have the Jags. I'm thankful we get to do this show. And, we get something to talk about every week. And talking about our Jags, good and bad, is always fun. When they're good, it's a lot better. When they're bad, it sucks. But, we got to suck it up and deliver. The show must go on, right?
And I always tell people, man, like all this losing, all these double-digit losing seasons are going to make our winning seasons just so much better. So much better. Guess what? When we win a Super Bowl, there's going to be bandwagon fans, but guess what, man?
That's all right. We'll let them come on. That's fine.
But no bandwagon fan is going to appreciate and love and have more fun for the Super Bowl victory than the people that stuck it out when we're going 2-14, 3-13, and just the abysmal records that we have. So just keep on keeping on. We're going to still be here and be, whether you tune into us for analysis or this is your therapy session, whichever one, it's, we'll be here for you guys. So yeah, we're here, man. Tom and I, we actually started up. We've been doing a podcast type of thing together, but we finally got a name for it, the DUUUVAL Vibes show. It's basically over on Relevant every show. If you guys go down in the description box down below, download Relevant without the last E. You can see the logo up on the screen and join the Jaguars Fanatics Vibe. You can get access to all of our different shows as well as a live chat amongst all other Jaguar fans. If you guys have any questions about it, obviously it's might be a new app for you guys. Just DM me on Twitter or Instagram or drop a comment down below. I'll be able to help you out with just downloading and joining. And it's a lot of fun, man. And we even have fans join the podcast every now and then. So go down there, do that. 3 shows a week. It's a lot of fun. And so hey, Tom, I think we're gonna
do, man. Easy to do right from the phone, right?
Absolutely.
Just load it up on the phone, go live, and boom.
Hell yeah. But hey, Tom, man, appreciate you for joining me today. It was a good time. And thanks everyone for being here. Go Jags.
Happy Thanksgiving. Eat a lot of food and get some rest.
Yeah, calories do not exist on Thursday. So remember that.
I started like this weekend, so I'm already up a few pounds. It's good.
Every day is Thanksgiving for me, Tom. With a 28-year-old metabolism, I'm gonna use it while it's here.
Damn right, you should, my man. You should.
But all right, guys.
All right, brother.
Take it easy. Go Jags.
Take care.